Hi there. Are we gonna have to talk about privilege again? I don't know about you. I've seen loads of takes recently over the last week or so of like left wing or progressive people looking at left wing progressive movements and saying that the problem has been that the left tells white working class men that they are privileged and that alienates them. And I think like in theory that would make sense, but in practice I've got like a couple of problems with it. And the first, like actually I've got one big problem with it, and that is that I don't think this happens. I'm pretty embedded in progressive politics. I think importantly, not just online. My entire career has been in real life working with other progressive people on projects driven by our progressive politics, right? So I've been involved with migrant support organizations and union work and campaigns against cuts to public services and so on. And I've never seen somebody in real life that I can genuinely think of employ this kind of language or this kind of trope. I I think about 15 years ago online, there was a sort of moment where the very, very online folks adopted some terminology about intersectionality from largely African American people in the US that talked about privilege, and it talked about the intersection of different forms of oppression and ways in which you can be marginalized in society. And I think like at that time, there was probably some discourse that was really valid and important that helped us to grow politically, and also some discourse that was just sort of didn't really think them through before posting, which is fine, people can do that. And then I don't think I've really seen much of that discourse online in the 15 years since, and I've definitely never seen it in real life. And the reason why I wanted to bring it up was because, how can I put this? If you're somebody who subscribes to progressive politics, you might have been feeling pretty low the last week. Well, in general, you might be feeling pretty low because the right and far right are obviously on the ascendant. But specifically the last week or so, you might have seen these takes and felt, yeah, that we need to turn our anger inwards, that we are ourselves to blame for the current moment. And I just kind of want to maybe give those people a pass. Like, I don't recognize myself in that discourse. I don't speak to people like that. I've never spoken to somebody working class and called them privileged. And if you haven't either, then, give yourself space to be removed from this discourse at all. It's not about you, because you don't actually behave like that. And I think that possibly people who behave like that don't actually exist. And then that comes to like, if you're not somebody who subscribes to progressive politics and you're watching this, and do you think that the left views working class people in this way? And if you do, what is that feeling based on? Have you ever seen a progressive or left-wing person talk to a working class person in that way? Have you ever been spoken to in that way? Have you ever been told to check your privilege in real life? And I mean, like, even online in the last few years. And if you've never had that kind of experience happen to you, you've never had somebody tell you that they don't care about working class struggles from a left-wing perspective because they only care about, like, I don't know, some special interest group that doesn't interest you. If you've never actually had that said to you by someone on the left, then where do you get the idea that that is how they think from? And is it that somebody you know has had somebody speak to them like that? Like, actually know? Or is it that you have heard that this is something that generally happens? And who have you heard that from? I'm just asking you to ask yourself these questions. If you want to put up a take about how the left doesn't care about class politics, then please ask yourself first about the last time where you actually experienced anyone on the left indicate that they don't care about class politics. And if you don't actually have an example where this has ever happened, then maybe don't post the take, because it doesn't really happen. And yeah, I think we've all been very online brained about this discourse, and like, people in real life don't really talk like that. People in real life don't really see themselves as on one or the other side of a binary like this. I think we all just need to give ourselves a pass from this discourse. I think it's really unhelpful. It's more stuff designed to make us angry online than it is anything that relates to the real life work that we do in our communities. And so this is your whole pass. You can just not bother to feel bad about this particular part of the discourse. You're welcome.